A is for Adam, Part 6. Life in the desert turned out to be not so bad after all. Their home wasn't anything that would appear in any magazines, for sure, but it was cosy and protected them from the blazing sun. They had to travel far for water, and even when they found little pools here and there, they were usually tiny. They had to use the water for drinking only, for Adam, Eve and Phil Collins. So the water that glued the sand together to make the mud for their hut wasn't actually water, but the byproduct of water that happens after it flows through the digestive system. Stink? A little. But after the sun had baked all the impurities out of the urine-coated sand, the smell was no longer there, and they were left with a very sturdy hut that stood up fairly well against the hot desert winds. Growing produce had been a bit of a struggle, and at times Adam got to thinking, maybe he should change what he named produce to non-produce. It didn't have that much of a ring to it, however, so he kept the old term and hoped for the best. Digging through the sand hadn't been much of a challenge. It was finding the right spots to dig in. They needed to be damp spots, which, as I've said, were few and far between. He could only plant a few seeds near each oasis he had found, for he didn't want the plants to suck up the only water there was. They needed to make sure they had enough for their own bodies to hydrate with. It was an entire year before the first tree bore any fruit, and what a difficult year that had been. The water pools had gotten to be tens of miles away, and by the time he reached them, he had to drink half of it just to have enough strength to make it to the next one. For food, luckily the occasional desert rat would scurry by, and he would roast it over an open fire. On very rare occasions, a camel or something would get close enough so that Adam could slaughter it. By the end of the year, Adam had gotten good at hunting camels, keeping alert enough for any sign of movement, despite the hallucinations being brought on from dehydration and the searing heat. Camels weren't that difficult to catch, as they weren't exactly what you would call a fast-moving animal, but tracking them was a whole different matter. Sure, they left footprints in the sand, which were rare, but any time the desert breeze would blow, it would just cover them back up. The good thing is, once you had killed an animal, the meat would dry in seconds, so it would keep for quite some time. The bad news is, the meat would dry in seconds, so there was very little water content in it, far from enough for them to stay hydrated. So it was exactly 1 year later, although Adam was terrible at telling the passage of time, when the first fruit blossomed on a knowledge tree. These were the first plants to sprout any food, so for a while both breakfast and dinner comprised of camel-wrapped knowledge fruit. At first it was good. The camel meat had added a certain gaminess that had been lacking in the fruit. After a while they became tired with the taste, but they were always grateful that these were the first fruits to blossom. The more they ate, the smarter they became. The smarter they became, the more new and innovative ways Adam was inventing to grow more food, and so on. Luckily, it was only a few months before the other things began to produce fruit, and soon Adam had quite the garden growing. Although one couldn't technically call it a garden. Eden was a garden. This was more like scattered plants. But no matter. He had drawn a little map to where each plant was, and soon he knew the layout like he knew Eve's body, and didn't need a map any more. Eve, disappointed at their love-making sessions from time to time, had wished that he had made a map of her body, but I digress. The point is, soon they were almost as comfortable there as they had been in Eden, and the beauty of it was, both Adam and Eve had made it with their own hands this time. This gave them a greater appreciation for what they had. Every time Adam looked at his surroundings, as barren as they were, his home, his gardens, everything was because of what they did. He had quickly forgotten that God had given them the seeds and the tools to till the land in the first place, but really, who's keeping score? Soon they were eating like kings. Adam had invented some cool cooking devices, from the first self-cleaning oven to the first microwave. His testicles tingled every time he used it, but it cooked things in seconds. He didn't really know why he wanted things to cook so quickly, since they had nothing but time there, and often after meals they would just sit around and stare at each other with nothing to do. All this staring led to boredom, which led to the invention of games. Tic-tac-toe, backgammon, pin the tail on Phil Collins. They had to get Phil wasted on wine before they played, as he used very sharp vulture bones to fasten the camel tail to his rear end. Phil had been a pretty good sport about the whole thing, oddly enough. He had forgotten, due to the wine, that he was stuck there with these yahoos for eternity. Chapter 12. "Hold still," Eve said to Adam, and reached into his ear. "Ow, what the—" he said, as it felt like whatever she was pulling from his ear was attached to his brainstem. Every nerve from his neck up through his sinuses shot up with an electric charge, and he sneezed. "Ha, look at this," she said, and showed him the twig she pulled from his ear. "That's weird," replied Adam. "Remember the time when you had one in your ear?" "No," she said. "It was right after we landed here from Eden." "Don't remember." "I'm not surprised, you were pretty dazed," said Adam. "Anyway, honey, if I say something, do you promise not to get mad?" "No," she replied. "No, you won't get mad, or no, you won't promise not to get mad. The last one." "Okay, never mind then." "Oh, no," she said, "you can't do that." "Do what?" "You can't start something off by asking me not to get mad, then not tell me what you didn't want me to get mad about. Just spill it. I won't get mad, I promise." "Now you're just saying that because you want me to tell you what I was going to tell you." "Yes, I am. Now tell me." He took a deep breath. "All right, here goes. Now, don't take this the wrong way. You know, I love your body, right? I mean, your soft shoulders, your legs, your, you know." Her eyes rolled. "Get to the point." "It's, your belly. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love your belly. Love it. It's just, well, it's gotten, a little, big." He braced himself for the punch to his jaw, but it never came. Instead, she sighed and dropped her shoulders in a melancholy fashion. "I know," she said. "I'm not sure what's going on." "How much have you been eating?" he asked. "You should know. We eat all of our meals together." She then added softly, "Except for the ones I sneak." "You're sneaking meals?" he asked. "No wonder you're getting fat." "Honey, you can't do that. We only have so much food to go around." "I'm sorry, really. I'm just always so hungry. Even right after we eat a meal, I'm still starving. It's as if I'm eating for two people." Adam's head quickly swiveled and his eyes grew big. "Wait, what did you just say?" "I'm sorry, really. I'm just always so hungry. Even right after we eat a meal, I'm still starving. It's as if I'm eating for two people." "That's it," he shouted. "What's it?" "Don't you get it? You feel you're eating for two people because you are eating for two people. There's a person in there." He pointed at her stomach. "A person?" she asked. "Are you sure?" "Sure, I'm sure. It only makes sense." "Yeah, it makes sense to me too, you know. Once in a while I can feel it moving around in there. I thought it was terrible indigestion, but just yesterday I thought I saw an outline of a foot underneath my skin." "Well, that's solved, I guess." A look of fear entered her face rather quickly. "Wait, what? A person? Oh, no, no, no. What do I do? Get it out, get it out." "I can't." "Why not?" "What do you want me to do? Rip you open?" "Yes, if you have to," she said. "I don't think I have to. Remember God's Christmas card, where he told you that you would have to experience the pain of childbirth?" "Unfortunately." "I think you'll have to experience the pain of childbirth." Which means it'll probably come out on its own." "How?" "I think it'll be one of two ways. It's in your stomach, right? You know how food comes out once it's digested?" "Oh, no, no way." "Yeah, it'll come out like poop comes out." Adam smiled. "What have you got to smile about?" "Poop. Still one of my favourite words I invented. Always makes me smile." "Adam, focus." "All right. So anyway, yeah, it may come out that way." "Kill me now," she said. "You'll be fine." "Easy for you to say. Ouch, that's going to rip me a new one." "Hey, yeah, probably." "Wait, you said one of two ways. What's the other way?" "Well, you remember how we created the baby?" "No." "No clue?" "No, it just started happening suddenly. One day I noticed my belly had gotten big, and before I knew it, it was moving. God's note said it was from our love-making session." "We're never doing that again," she said. "Ah, we'll see." "No, I'm serious, Adam. We are never doing that again." "Baby, you know you can't resist this." "Try me," Eve said. "So anyway, you think it could come out of there?" "Seems logical enough," Adam said. While that doesn't seem as bad, it still seems like it will hurt. Like a lot. Nah, Adam said. Nonsense. I fit in there just fine. I'm sure it will be a piece of cake. You fit in there just fine, all right, she agreed. Your teeny little codpiece, anyway, not your entire body. Hey, my codpiece is not tiny. It is when compared to a whole person, she answered. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't think I'll be all that bad, you know. I mean, how big can this person be? It's small enough to fit in your stomach, right? What can it be? All of 5 pounds? 6 at most? You'll be okay. Why, my codpiece must weigh at least 4.5. Dream on, she said. And with that the conversation dropped, and soon they forgot about the person growing inside of her for a while. Until... Da, da, da. The end. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and press the wee bell notification. And a huge big thank you to all my subscribers and patrons. See you next week. Bye bye.